It's time for, hello, a Jersey Shore recap podcast.
Hello.
Hello. My name is Angel, but you can call me Cookie.
And I'm GWOW. Together we are Cookie and GWOW. This is your episode by episode Jersey Shore recap podcast. This is season 3, episode 5. Drunk Punch Love is the name of the episode, which I don't know if that was like a commentary on Eat, Pray, Love, which I think was big at the time, but they absolutely should have called this episode, Are You Friends with Her?
Oh, yeah, I guess. But they always try to do, well, I guess they don't always, but they try to do puns and like little funny wordplays sometimes. I guess they were trying to be clever and not so
But when
literal,
we saw the episode Where's the Beach, we were like, oh, I know what's happening. And if I saw Are You Friends with Her, I'd be like, turn it on.
That is true. This was a very good episode. There was a lot going on.
A lot of good Jersey Shore moments. And I remember in season 1 being like, I'm surprised all this stuff happens in season 1, because I think I was remembering this in season 3 where we have, the Are You Friends with Her and like spoiler, but like the grenade whistle and all these iconic things that obviously we should just dig into. But it's a good one. It's a good episode.
It certainly is.
But before we start, I do want to follow up because I am nothing if not a detective, a voice of the people trying to get the hard-hitting news and headlines. And I sought out to get a statement from the husband of Miss Dina Nicole, and Mr. Chris Buckner replied to us. Can I just say, I didn't want to push my luck because I'm like, he already will follow us and respond a little bit. So I'm like, I don't want to go too far. So if you remember on one of the episodes, I sent him a little message just being like, hey, what did you think about seeing Dina on Jersey Shore then or now? We'd love to hear your intake. He so sweetly responded. I'm obsessed with what he said. This is what he said. Hi, I was and will always be a huge fan of Jersey Shore. When I watch clips now, old or new, of Dee, it just reminds me of how great she is on the show, and I just happen to be extremely lucky to be married to her.
That's such a goddamn sweet thing to say.
I know,
we stand.
And it's so true. Like, I think he really just feels so, like, she is great on the show. That's so true. And I really do think it feels so lucky to be her husband. And that is like my favorite thing ever. So shout out always to the Buckners.
Yes, thank you so much for your statement. Thanks for replying. So far, he's the first person in the canon of the Jersey Shore universe to acknowledge and engage with us. So I feel
we're
honored.
1 degree away from Dina. We're so close.
Who is my favorite. So that means a lot to me.
Yes, back to the episode. So we start back with Jenny was kind of like surveying the damage of Tom. They decide they need to change the locks, which is, of course, kind of the antics of the scene because they like can't do it. But really, it's still kind of, I don't know, it's like kind of sad to watch. And I'm like, just get the dogs and go back to Jersey already.
It was a very Snooki and JWoww moment, though. They were a little clueless trying to. I think there was a point where they even locked themselves in, which is something. Which, by the way, is something I would do, so I can relate to that. It's hard.
They needed a real lesbian to help them in that moment.
I think one of them said they should call a juice head.
A juice head would have been, yeah, exactly. They needed help. I think that they must have had production like step in and help eventually. They like, do you guys want to be here all day? Like, let's fucking go. And then, so last time I mentioned really quickly that Snooki had called Ryder to come, and she comes now. And of course, like, Snooki is helping Jenny. And honestly, I'm still like, this is not a great time for Ryder to come because there's like stuff going on in the house. There's Snooki who's trying not to drink as much. Jenny's got all this stuff going on, but Ryder like shows up. Vinny greets her, of course, which just feeds more into the drama. But she's like, where's Nicole? And Nicole's on her way back from New York. So that's like, dun, dun, dun.
And she and Dina have a cute moment, though. Dina kind of takes her out and they go out on the boardwalk and they have a few drinks. So that was cool. Dina's, of course, instantly friends with everybody. So I don't even know if they've met at this point, right? Or have they?
I don't think they've
seem like
met.
Instant friends.
Yeah, well, see, this is the thing. I don't think they're friends. And I think they both have the kind of personality that can be friends with anybody, but I think
Mm.
in different ways. In Dina's case, it's really like friendly, approachable, like just a very people's person. And Ryder, I think that she'll be friends with anybody who's going to drink with her.
Yeah, I feel you.
So it works because Dina's like accommodating and she's a great host, but I guess like looking back, I was really a big fan of Ryder watching the show the first time, and I'm just not as much watching back. I think she kind of like comes in selfishly to be like, it's my birthday weekend, so I'm gonna come to the Jersey Shore on your show. I don't know. It's kind of like icky to me. I don't know.
Like maybe she like kind of manipulated or convinced, like, hey Nicole, let me come on your show. That type of thing.
Yeah, like maybe Nicole felt like she couldn't say no.
Right.
Like it's her birthday and it's my best friend. And like I feel like Nicole's already kind of a people pleaser in some aspects. So I don't
Well,
know.
and earlier this season, she was saying she had a weird thing with Ryder because she and Vinny had hooked up right before the season started.
Right.
And I forgot about that, but Vinny brought it up when Ryder got into the house. Like, it's kind of awkward that she's here and Snooki's not after what happened, which it is. And they never
Yeah.
really addressed it in the episode, which I was surprised.
I think they make some jokes, but overall, I think Vinny knows if he makes too many jokes, Nicole will get mad. Nicole doesn't want to bring it up. I think Ryder shouldn't bring it up, but
No.
it's like the whole day that they're gone, and when they finally get home, when Nicole and Jenny finally get back with the dogs, like everyone's ready to go out and like, okay, you guys get ready, like we're about to go to the bar, and it's fine, I guess, that like everything does work out fine for Snooki, but I'm like, Nicole just said she didn't want to drink, and now here's her drinking friend who's like, get ready, we're going to Karma, and I'm kind of just like, you guys just are not the best friends right now, but they, Karma it is.
I don't know that they really were good friends, though. I think they were drinking buddies, which is different.
You're right.
It's a different vibe.
That's true. Drinking buddy is different.
You know what I wanted to say? You mentioned it was her birthday. Did you? I don't know if you said how old she is, but I was surprised that it was her 22nd birthday.
Well, that's all. I think Nicole's 20, maybe 23 now by season 3, but she was still only 22. Like
I'm
when she started
still
the
in
show.
my 20s. I'm going on 28, but it's like I don't know why that feels so young. I guess it's because I watched it when I was like in junior high or early high school. Yeah, early high school. So they all felt so old to me. So it's crazy now to look back and I'm like, oh, those are babies. They're barely adults.
No, that's exactly how it is. Is that at the time they seemed so much older than us, and now we're past it. So we're like, whoa, it's like a weird time warp thing. But that's when you just pop over to family vacation and remember that everybody is aging. Also.
They're all parents, and they're all yeah, exactly. There also, and one more thing about Ryder, there's this moment where she's sitting alone with the boys, with Vinny and Polly, and it's so awkward. They're just sitting there in silence.
I don't think she has much of a personality at this point in her life besides being drunk.
We all know people like that where like their whole personality is just getting drunk, which is kind of sad,
and they claim that they are like such a good time and so fun, but it's like, well, really, you're just down to drink. I don't know.
Yeah. But I thought that was funny. But luckily, Nicole and Jenny got home right around then and saved the day.
Yeah. So now we are in for, honestly, a very long night at Karma. A lot goes down. First thing, Jenny immediately finds Roger, which no real drama, but he does like stick around the rest of the night. So like now that she's rid of the Tom drama, because we're fresh off of her changing the locks and stuff, her and Roger are going to start to amp things up. And then Sam and Ron immediately get in a fight, which really I think is just because Sam still can't trust him. So anything that happens, she has this warped perception of reality after just seeing how much he's able to lie to her, that like, yeah, I wouldn't trust him either.
Yeah, right. And I think he was like talking to a friend and the friend's girlfriend, right? Like it was totally harmless, if I'm not mistaken.
I do think it was harmless. I just think she's traumatized.
Yeah. Well, and that's the reason why they fight so quickly, because they're both in a fucked up state. She's traumatized and she's on high alert. And he sort of is in this weird victim complex where he's got himself convinced that she's the problem and that he's like somehow I guess he's aware that he's on thin ice, but rather than acknowledging it's his fault, he kind of takes it as she's crazy or she's going through it. So they're both,
I think it's kind of an ego thing why he's not willing to admit any accountability.
So they're both sort of on thin ice, so that these fights trigger instantly. Like with one glance, they're fighting.
So, okay, so the rest of the club, now listen, My name is Gina and I am Italian, and there are lots of other Italians named Gina,
Right.
but I can't help but feel really happy when Vinny, this is the quote he said, because I'm just so excited that he said this of my name. He said, "There's a lot of cute girls at Karma tonight, and one girl named Gina kind of stands out to me." And he ensues with what he says is a beautiful Italian girl named Gina who has her entire family as her fucking security at this club.
Right, which is interesting that she's there with them.
I would kill my family if anybody acted like this. I'd be like, go the fuck away. I'm not hanging out with y'all if you're going to act like this.
Do you think they're putting on a show for the cameras, or do you think they're just like that and like follow her around to the club and protect her and whatever, try to, whatever?
I think it's a little bit amped up from the cameras, but I think only not for show, but because they are that protective. So if the cameras weren't there, I still think they'd be protective over guys. But because there's cameras, I think they feel like they need to be more protective, because it's like, A, don't be an ass in front of this guy, but B, don't be an ass in front of this guy and national television.
Right.
But they're
intense.
I'm surprised she even agrees to go back to the house with them. And she does, and everyone kind of has somebody, like a lot of people end up back at the house. Yeah. Honestly, it's like a whole, and I don't know, they're up like all night, which is why this whole night gets so much airtime. But I'm just surprised that she's willing to go back and her family's letting her go. Like, I'm surprised they weren't just like, no, you're not going.
Right. Yeah. It almost feels like they sort of like escaped, like they kind of had to get away. Snuck, you know what I mean? Like they were sneaky.
Oh, okay.
Like I feel like
I can see that.
You know what I mean? Like when someone, like they just dipped, they just left the club.
Interesting. So now they're back,
and they order pizza,
mm-hmm.
which it made me crave pizza something fierce.
No, it did look really, really good. And one of the things I think is so funny is that Sam and Ron get back into a fight, which honestly, it's not even worth getting into why, because none of that really makes sense. But what's so funny is that when she realizes at one point, like she comes to bring him pizza, because they get in a fight, she leaves the room, she gets a piece of pizza, and while she's getting the pizza, Ron's like destroying the room.
Right.
And she comes back to give him pizza, because I think in Sam's head, she's just kind of used to things being chaotic right now, and she's like, it'll blow over, whatever. But I think Ron's taking this harder because he's like, I've been caught, so she might escalate things. I don't know, because he just goes to defense so crazy in this like crazy way, and then she brings him a slice of pizza and she doesn't notice that he's like destroyed the room. And then when she finally notices, what cracks me up is she's still like chewing the pizza and like taking bites of pizza as he's like berating her and being an asshole. And she's just like, what did you do this for? And like takes a full bite. And I'm just like, okay, wait, Sammy at this moment is everything.
Well, and then of course Mike is up there instigating and being like, look what he did. Or I don't even remember what Mike said, but I was like, go away, this doesn't involve you.
Yeah, honestly, it's hard to like make notes and comment and stuff even more so on the Sam and Ron drama, because like Ron is so annoying and unreal and like unsympathetic. Yeah. And then Sam, I don't even feel like Sammy's doing that much wrong. Like she'll make one comment, and instead of just calmly being like, hey, we got to move past this, Ron destroys her room. And I'm like, you're not fighting fire with fire. You're fighting like I don't know. I don't have a good metaphor. What the fuck ever. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's so crazy uneven the way that Ron is handling everything. And like Mike and Paulie don't even know what to do. Like Sam's crying. And I'm like, oh, I hate watching. Yeah. It makes it not fun to watch.
This was a bad episode for Ron. And there's a lot of bad episodes, but this is one of them. And he says a few things that don't sit right with me. Like one of the things he said was, cry all you want. Your tears don't mean shit to me. Which I thought was a little cruel.
So disgusting. No, he's nasty, and he does start to get like threatening in ways. And this is like also why I'm just like, where is the producer intervention? Because like stuff is being destroyed, and not even, you know what? Like if you want to be like, okay, these guys have made us a plot line, so let's run with it. Okay, but like, what about Danny and his fucking shore house. Like, was there no clause that Danny said if they're destroying things, you have to intervene because it's my fucking house that you're like the bed frame is still broken. And like Danny has made TikToks about it on his like what on like the Shore Store TikTok and be like, look, the bed's still broken, ha ha ha. Which I'm kind of like, okay, on one hand, like, ha ha, but also like, so you've just made a shrine of this domestic abuse that was ignored?
Right.
Like, gross.
I think
Gross.
I think when you get into reality TV on the production side, I think that they have it like hammered into their brain to not intervene until the absolute last minute to get as much footage as possible. So I just
but
think
you can't even like you can't even just say run if you keep breaking stuff. We're gonna have to like a warning or
Yeah.
something.
I mean, maybe they did and we didn't see it because it wasn't as bad this episode as it gets, I think, later this very season.
Yeah.
So we could talk more about destruction of property later because this really was just this moment was more just Sam's shit. It was like her clothes and her stuff like that. It wasn't necessarily like Danny's stuff. But there's a pattern.
Yeah.
He's the type of guy where he gets so angry that he like has to release it physically. And I bet he's limiting himself on camera. I can't even imagine what goes on behind the scenes. Like he's definitely a wall puncher, right? I mean, like he seems like that type.
Well, in the news for more than that. So yeah, I like
Well, yeah.
And it's even more gross because he's gross now. He's gross then. Why are we employing this man? I don't ever want him on Jersey Shore again. I hate him. Get him off.
No, I do not want him to, because I started watching Family Reunion this season and I don't want him to come back for Sam's sake, for my sake, for anybody's sake. Just stay gone. We're good.
Okay, let's move on before I go crazy over the Sam and Ron.
Well, there's more of it.
I know, but put a pin in it for now. Let's go back to the fun stuff. So, okay, this is where the guys like I said, they all kind of brought girls home. The girls don't get tons of screen time until Mike goes off with his girl because, you know, Mike's signature move is being like, oh, I'll get you a t-shirt. That kind of like claims his girl. They end up together, whatever. But there's like this straggler who kind of is like, well, what about me? And even the guys are kind of like joking with her, like, your name's Skip. Like they're trying to like make jokes with her. She's not getting it. And when she goes up to be like, I need a shirt too, Mike's even like, for what? You go get one from Pauly. Like what? I don't know what this girl was thinking, honestly.
I wonder if anyone even brought her home or if she just sort of followed them home, because I didn't quite get that. Like, did she come home with Pauly or did she follow him home?
I think it's her friend that she just came with. And I think, I don't know what she thought. Like, did she think that she was going to have a threesome? Or like, honestly, he might have been down for that if she'd like specifically said that. But I don't know. It was all very weird. And while this is happening, the guys are like, we got to do something. We got that whistle, right? We got to blow the grenade whistle. And they almost say it like it's happened before, even though it has definitely not happened before. And if you're watching on our Patreon, I have the grenade whistle or on YouTube, I have the grenade whistle on as my Zoom background, which is just, it's this ridiculous sounding horn that it sounds more like most of the time.
That was a great impression.
It's like so random, and Mike is even like, hold on, what is that? And like,
I
don't know, a siren.
I know what it's called. It's called a vuvuzela.
Is it?
It's called a vuvuzela. They were trendy at that time. That's why I'm sure I believe that's why they had one. It was like a meme. It was like the world's ugliest sounding instrument or something. There was like a meme of how awful it sounds, because it is technically an instrument. It's a musical instrument, but it makes this awful like horn sound. And so I think that's why they had one, just because it was like funny at the time to have one. But yeah, it's called a vuvuzela, I think.
And then rebranded as a grenade whistle.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they like do it. They have them like at soccer games, and that's, if you've ever been to a soccer game, sometimes there's this loud, horrible sound, and that's what it is. It's a bunch of vuvuzelas. Anyways,
aka the grenade whistle.
Right, the rebranded grenade whistle. So the craziest thing happens. Gina's uncle and family show back up. And it's like, how did they find the house? Did production lead them there?
So I'm wondering if at this point everybody in Seaside just knows the house.
Oh, yeah.
Or I'm not really totally sure.
No,
but it is kind of like chaotic though, because like the grenade whistle's going off. The girls like they're trying to figure out who's going where, and then their family shows like this girl's family shows up. And I mentioned previously how fucking small Seaside is.
Mhm.
And I hope I'm breaking this information to you newly. I don't know if you know this or not, but one of the guys who comes
Yeah.
to pick up Gina
I
is
recognized him.
Snooki's fucking husband. It's Gianni.
I did not remember that until today when I watched that episode.
And he's
What
on
the
camera and
fuck?
everything, being like, is she
Yeah.
coming out or what? Like, he's made his Jersey Shore MTV debut long before the days
Right.
of JWoww and Snooki and JWoww, whatever. It is so funny to me that he's literally on camera. And then what's also crazy to me is if Seaside isn't fucking small enough, if in this season, I haven't been able to pick out where it is yet, but in this season, there are multiple shots of current Sammy's boyfriend because he's a bouncer at Karma. And in one of the, I don't know what episode it is. I don't think we're there yet, but one of the episodes, he actually carries Dina out. And I don't know if that's on camera, but at one point in Family Vacation, they pan to some Jersey Shore footage and he's in like the background and things. So it's hilarious to me that like Gianni is right there picking up Gina. And then we have Sammy's boyfriend, whose name I don't know, being the bouncer. Like, okay, Jersey is only so big, people. We've established that.
Jeez, do people like? Oh, this is gonna sound so stupid. Do people like live in Seaside? Of course they do. It sounds stupid, but like, or is it just a tourist like a?
No, you're
summer
fair to
spot?
assume that like a lot of the Jersey Shore towns, it's kind of like a college town where like people live there, but then obviously things ramp up during college season. It's the
Okay.
same where like people absolutely live there full time, but it's absolutely busier during the summer because a lot of
Okay.
people will go for the summer. It's like that kind of like a seasonal kind of town.
And like, I wonder like how somebody like Danny makes money. Does he just make a shitload of money during the summer and then none the rest of the year? Because I can imagine both the house would be empty and the store would be empty during like the winter months, right?
He must have other properties or other
Oh, yeah.
business ventures. Who knows?
Maybe
Pop-up
then I would.
stores.
If I were
who
him, I
knows?
wouldn't now. I'd retire on the Jersey Shore house.
I
And,
mean,
like, I
he's
wonder-
still raking money in, you
I
know,
wonder
get
if he's
that
still-
bag.
Like, I wonder if he still runs the store. Anyways, yeah, it is a very small town. And it's crazy because it's like, I don't know why the idea of like all these people that are now in their lives that weren't at the time, like all their faces are unblurred. So I don't know why it's funny to think of them like being pulled aside and they signed waivers and like they did the whole production thing. And I don't know.
Yeah,
It is crazy.
it's very crazy. I love the 360 view of it all. And this night is literally not over. I know we've already gone into so much of one night at Karma. We're usually like, oh, we're skipping around days. It's fully still one night, but let's take a little break.
Okay. Can't get enough of hello?
Never.
Well, check us out on social media. We're on Instagram and TikTok at hello pod.
And if you are listening to us, but you'd rather be watching, you can go to patreon.com/hello. There's also going to be tons of bonus content, including bonus episodes and behind the scenes, like how I got my Snooki pove.
And last but not least, if you're a brand or you just want to give us money, send us an email, a professional email at hellopod@gmail.com.
All right, let's get back to the show already.
Okay. Hello?
Hello.
We're back.
We are back, but the night is not over. However, the grenade finally leaves, and Roger and Jenny are hanging out. The house finally comes into some peace. And then, okay, fine. I said let's take a break from talking about Ron and Sam, but now we have to talk about them again. Because Jenny, and I don't understand this move, she randomly like throws a lifeline to Ron, who's like crying.
Right.
But Jenny's like, you know, I still have your back. Like, I care about you. We wrote the note so that Sam would be free from you and you
Right.
could be free and you'd be able to be you, which I think is like a real big twist on the truth. But I'm like, Jenny, what is this move?
I didn't like this for her. I felt weird about it. Like she kind of was implying like Sam has been the problem all along and it was our goal to get rid of her for you so that you can have a good summer. Like, and I know that Jenny and Sam had problems at this point, but like you said, that's sort of twisting the truth. And I think Jenny knows
Yeah.
that. So, and because
Yeah.
Jenny knows the truth, she wrote the goddamn note. She's the one who
Yeah.
snitched. So it's like, why are you flipping it now? Is it like, fuck Sam, I'll be Ron's friend? Like, is she that petty in this moment? Or maybe did she change her mind? I don't know. I can't understand her intentions.
No, it's so mind-boggling to me. Like, I don't get, my only thing is like sometimes when you're drunk, things seem like more dramatic than they are. So I don't know if then she was like feeding into that. It really made no sense to me.
I will say
And
also, well, the one thing I
Mhm.
will say is that she just mentioned it once in passing, but she did say, I forget her exact wording, but she said something to the extent of like, I can relate to how you're feeling because I've gone through something similar with Tom of like messing up and then feeling guilty and blah, 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 blah. So I'm wondering if
Okay.
part of why she's flip flopping and like sympathizing a lot with Ron is because maybe she's like, she just had all kinds of crazy shit happen with Tom. So I wonder if her like head is kind of warped and she's like relating it to her own situation and maybe relates or feels bad because she thinks he's in the same position that she was. I don't know. She mentioned
No,
Tom.
that's a good analysis. I can see that parallel. Like maybe it's a little bit of guilt and she's like, well, I did something wrong. And I can see Ron's
Right.
doing something wrong. So I can see that. I can
Like
see that.
commiserating on their guilt. And the
Yeah.
Tom shit happened that day. Like she was in her home that morning. So this has been, so I'm wondering if that could have something to do with it. And
I think that's a good call out.
And I'm thinking of Jenny in this moment. Like this must have been a long goddamn 24 hours for her. Jesus. Because I think she's been up at this point for like 24 hours.
By the end of the night, that's for sure. And maybe if they just kind of had this moment and then it went on, that would be fine. But Mike, the fucking instigation in this instance, decides to like kind of just passively tell Sam, like Sam's like, where's Ron? And Mike, because he's their roommate, is like, oh, he's downstairs talking to Jenny. And I don't think he realized what was about to like fucking erupt when he said that. She goes over the balcony, and then we get one of my favorite scenes ever. Tell me now. I need to know now. Are you friends with her? No. Are you? Are you friends with her? Stop fucking playing me out right now. It's not cool. And what's so fucking funny is like, why is that the moment that they choose to fucking celebrate Ryder's birthday? And so Vinny walks through and is like, we're going to Ryder's birthday party. And Sam's like, I don't give a fuck. And it's so funny.
It was bad timing because they started preparing the cake moments before Sam started yelling. So they didn't do that on purpose. It like just worked out that way. And
they're honestly like so sick of just having to deal with this too that I don't think they're like, oh, let's wait till it's over. I think they're like, it's gonna happen every night. We're just gonna let it happen and keep doing what we're doing because what else are we supposed to do?
They just went as far as possible. They went up on that like roof deck thing and they're just like, well, fuck it, let's just celebrate.
And Sophie and Ryder like passed out up there too. They have to like wake her up to be like, look, because it's like 6 a.m. at this point, and they have to like wake her up to be like, look, we brought you candles. And I'm just like, now in the middle of, are you friends with her?
I would be especially annoyed about Ron and Sam drama as well when there's guests over, like in front of company, like Ryder's here. We've got randoms from the club, like Roger's here, like everybody's here. I think Roger was there at that point, right?
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah, and so it's like, Jesus, can we not behave in front of company? God.
Yeah. Well, what then gets awkward is like, okay, the are you friends with her? Really funny. But then when she punches him in the face, not so funny, but also I'm like, well, he does deserve it. But like, I shouldn't be promoting violence. But I'm also like, fuck you, Ron. Punch him in the fucking face. I just hate him so much that when she punched him, I was like, honestly, you're doing what I want to do right now as like whatever.
Right.
But well, I shouldn't say that. That's not good to say.
Well, can I tell you what I wrote?
Yeah.
I said, she repeats or said, quote unquote, because I'm reading my notes right now. This is word for word what I wrote. Quote unquote, are you friends with her? She repeats multiple times and he refuses to answer. So she punches him in the face, quote unquote, as she should. Or sorry, parentheses, as she should. Because as she should. He was being an asshole and he deserved it. No, I mean, I don't promote domestic violence, but I don't know. I felt like he deserved a punch. A little slap or something.
We're just so mad at him that I'm like, I don't know. So that wasn't great. And she calls her mom to be like, I've been pushed to the edge. I'm packing my stuff. I need to be picked up. And I don't love this scene because I feel like while people are telling her not to stay, they're also really coddling Ron
Right.
And I'm like,
They're telling her to stay.
Ronnie should be
playing both
leaving.
sides. Yeah.
And Ronnie should be the one to go. He is the problem.
Mm.
Like, and so like it's not like a fun scene because they just don't
Well, they're
get the
playing
full
both sides.
picture right now.
Because
Right.
like there's a lot of like telling Ron, oh, you're totally in the right, and we're sorry you have to deal with this. But then they're going to Sam saying, you shouldn't leave. Don't let him make you leave. You know, they're playing
Mhm.
both sides. And I get they're both of their friends, I guess, but I don't know. It just feels wrong.
And who knows, honestly, if they've seen footage and whatever's, maybe they don't know how bad things really are either. It's just like hard to know. And it's like all of a sudden 7 a.m. I guess before I go into 7 a.m., before just on a little fun note quickly. The Jenny and Roger are trying to get it in, but the dogs are just like barking. And I love the dogs being at the shore. I think other people are probably annoyed with all the barking, and I'm sure it's edited to sound more dramatic than it is, but the dogs running around and being part of the plot line and them holding them in the kitchen, it's so funny to me. I love it.
Well, me too, but I'm a dog person. I love dogs.
Yeah, me too.
Especially, I have a soft spot in my heart for little yappy dogs because that's what I grew up with. I love little, loud, annoying dogs. Like annoying in a good way. I find it to be charming, and I think I would like having them there for sure.
Yeah, I have a terrier and a Shih Tzu, so yappy dogs are right up my alley.
I always grew up with Chihuahuas, which are famously some of the most yappy dogs, and I love them.
Chihuahuas. I love Chihuahuas. Okay, so back to the drama because now it's 7 a.m. They've been up all night.
Well, this is one of those things where it's like maybe you should just go the fuck to sleep because at this point there's nothing productive is going to happen. And Ron says something. This is where I was talking about earlier. He says, I wrote it down exactly as he said it. He said, because someone was asking, like, are you going to let her leave? And he said, if she stays, I'm going to make her life miserable. She has no idea.
That's so sinister and gross to me.
It comes off as like malicious and cruel and calculated. Like, are you going to like purposely make her suffer to try to get rid of her or to punish her? What
and
is
then
your
imagine
there?
like being Sam and watching that back at some point,
right?
And being like, whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
It's threatening. But I hate it.
She was saying shit like that in season 2, though. That's why I can't understand.
Why do we ever cast this disgusting human? There's so many other juice heads that weren't going to hit anybody.
Right.
Anyway, so her bags are packed and he does finally soften because this is a toxic relationship at its finest.
Right.
Like he pushes her all the way to the edge, and while she's finally at the edge, that's when he's like, okay, fine, come back. And like Sam starts to try and take some accountability, being like, okay, I know I freaked out over nothing. Like I shouldn't be freaking out over you being friends with Jenny. But I'm like, don't apologize to this disgusting excuse for a human. And she tells her mom, you don't need to pick me up. But I'm just like, no, Sam. Well, that's you have nothing to be apologizing for.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's where we, earlier we were saying like, we were like kind of half jokingly like, we're glad she punched him. But this is where I wish she wouldn't have, because when she punched him, that gave him an opportunity to play victim and to have a legitimate complaint, because she did take it to a physical level, and so that gives him leverage to make it about him and it worked, because she was very guilty and apologetic, mostly about the punch, about the whole night, but really about the punch was what she was apologizing for. So that's why I wish she wouldn't have, for that reason.
I definitely see that, because he even says to her, well, she makes the comment to him like, hey, you've messed up a lot and asked me for another chance, and I've given it to you and you've gotten better. So now I need you to give me that chance, which I do see what she's saying in a way. Like Ron has to remember that she's not where he is at with all the knowledge, and like he's not giving her a chance to catch up and like have a period where she's going to be really pissed and have him on a short leash until trust is rebuilt. And that's just, he's not understanding. There's no emotional intelligence in this man.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah. Because I think the best thing to do is really to let them have their, like, if you betray someone and they're trying to forgive you, let them have their space, let them try to forgive. But no, he wants it to just be over. He wants to sort of erase it from the history books. Because, and you know what he says a lot too? He says a lot of like, oh, that was 5 months ago. We were talking about 5 months ago. What?
And that's such a 22-year-old mindset.
Yeah, I guess they are pretty young.
5
I'm
months
like,
is such a big portion of time in a 22-year-old's mind.
that's
And
true
now that I'm
because
30, I'm like 5 months goes by like that.
exactly. If you betrayed me 5 months ago or 6 months ago, that was might as well have been yesterday, and I'm gonna need like another maybe 6 months minimum.
Right?
Like I need a full year to be over it. At minimum.
If that. Yeah, right? Or I might just never talk to you again because I'm an adult and I don't have time.
Yeah, well, that's true as well. So
Mhm.
she apologizes to him, and she's sort of course, comforting him and hugging him, and which I hated, but I kind of
know.
get her perspective. I get why she was doing it, but it was hard to watch as a third party. And she calls her mom and says she decided to stay. She wants to work it out with Ron. And I found this interesting in the interview confessional, whatever. She said that the reason she made it physical and what pushed her over the edge was him talking to Jenny. And she said in this moment, she realizes that she not only needs to make up with Ron, but she also wants to make up with Jenny, which I found interesting because this is the first time this season. And she was just furious with her an hour ago. And for the first time, she's saying, I think I might need to talk to Jenny, which I found interesting that that's the conclusion she came to in that moment.
I think at some point and maybe I'm reaching here, but I think at some point she was kind of like, uh-oh, I'm doing it again. I should be mad at Ron, but I'm mad at Jenny. But she was taking it out on Ron. So it's like at least a step in the right direction. But I think that's when she was like, I have to just make things right and find a way to not live like this because like I don't have peace currently. That's what I think.
Right. And I wonder if it's almost the thing where she was ignoring it and avoiding it, but the amount of anger that entered her body instantly when she saw them talking, I think that made her realize that she was more worked up about it than she thought. You know what I mean? Like, you know how sometimes you're like, I don't give a fuck, I don't care, and then something happens and you're like, oh no, I care very much.
Fully.
Yeah, so I think that's what happened. I think she was like, I really need to squash this, otherwise it's gonna get ugly again. Because they live in the same house at this point. They're still living together. So I thought that was out of all the shit that happened, that was a sort of mature conclusion to come to, that like maybe we should just all squash this and start over. So.
Yeah, at least we can be done talking about their fights for the rest of this episode.
Is it? I hope. I don't even remember it.
Just this one. Jeez. Don't worry.
Okay. Well, let's take a break and we'll come back with some more fun moments. The rest of the episode is fun.
Yes.
All right.
Welcome to Sapphic Survival Guide.
My name is Cheyenne.
I'm Gina.
Class is now in session.
How do you define queer style?
How do you communicate that you don't want to U-Haul at all?
Right, as literally every queer woman I meet hate Geminis.
How do I deal with the most devastating breakup I've ever been through? Sapphic Survival Guide.
We're happy to be queer to answer your questions. Hello.
Hi, hello, we're back.
We're back, but Ryder's leaving. It's kind of a short visit and honestly kind of like really bad timing overall. So kind of glad it's over.
It's bad on multiple counts. Bad because she probably didn't have that great of a time. It was probably kind of awkward. And also bad because I feel as though she probably was looking for a little bit of TV time and didn't get very much. Because if there was not all that drama going, we'd get like Meatball-y, Snooki Ryder adventures. But there was so much happening with Jenny and Ron and Sam that I almost forgot Ryder was there, other than the fact that they sang her happy birthday while Ron and Sam was fighting. That's really all I remember about her this episode.
That's fine. I don't need more airtime from her right now, honestly. Like, I'm good.
Do we not like her?
Especially if I'm just like not a fan because like Nicole's not friends with her now. And I feel like she's really, we've said this, she's really just a drinking buddy. So I just don't think she's a great friend. So I'm like, what? I'm okay with her leaving. It's okay. Bye.
I don't even think she was there for a full 24 hours. Like she showed up in the afternoon and left the next morning. So she really only came for the night. I wonder how far she's coming from.
Well, longest night of TV time of the season so far, at least for her. But...
I think they were all up for at least 24 hours.
Yeah, especially Jenny and Snooki because of the drive that they had to take.
Jeez, that's why I can't even imagine the mindset Jenny was in, all that drama, all that.
Yeah.
That's where there must have been some little cocaine, right? Because how can you have that much energy for that long?
Oh, maybe around now is when they started to get some help. Maybe
I don't know,
especially because if they're up till 7 a.m. I mean, like, yes, you can have nights of alcohol, which is that, but like that's probably more likely not just drinking.
Maybe I can't relate personally, and so I'm like projecting onto them. But and this isn't even like a because I'm getting older thing. Even when I was 21, if we're getting drunk, you've got me for about 3 hours, and then it's a wrap, and then it's done. When I'm done, I'm done. It's over. So I don't know how. And so I know some people can drink all night even without drugs. I don't know how they do it. I do not know how they do it. I get tired so quick.
Yeah, that's not how my body works either.
The rest of this episode is mostly light, fun moments, which is good.
Yeah, and also the rest of this episode, like the first half of this episode, or the first that so far that we've talked about in this episode has been pretty much like one long night at Karma.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, I feel like the editing's really shoddy again. So like they don't really acknowledge the fact that they stayed up till 7 a.m. and then probably had to sleep all day. All of a sudden, it's just the next night and
Right.
it's date night, which I'm like, is that the same day? Is it the next day? Who fucking knows at this point? But
Yeah, exactly.
it's date night.
It could have been the day before. There's no way of even knowing. Yeah.
That's true.
It's another double date with Roger, Jenny, and Dina and Dean.
Which is cute. And what's funny is how they call this date night. And because Vinny and Nicole don't have dates, they kind of go, I mean, it's not a date, but like couple off and they go do a little run to the sex store, which I just think is funny that like they're out doing like wholesome dates and then Vinny and Nicole are like, let's go to the sex store and get a stripper pole, which I'm so fucking jealous. I want a stripper pole. Like as soon as I'm not moving around all the time and I have somewhere that I'm going to be for a while, I am going to invest in a stripper pole. Not even like for the sexy element, just for the fun vibes of and being able to just like twirl around on it and I don't know, maybe get some workouts in.
That's the thing is stripper poles it's like a full sport. Like you could take classes and when you take the classes, there's not any type of sexy strip club element to it. It's fully athletic, it's acrobatic almost, or maybe that's not the right word, but it's a sport.
You can take sexy ones, but you can take ones, for the workout, literally.
And it's good for you. It's like strengthening your core and shit.
Full body. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm very happy she bought the stripper pole. It's bringing a lot of fun already, and I'm looking forward for a lot more of that. So very happy with this purchase.
And they don't know how to set it up, so everybody keeps falling on it.
Yeah. Somebody must have come in eventually, but more on that. So now it's like maybe the next day, not really sure. They're doing some like GTL plus barbershop. So I'm going to guess it's the next day. But it's just like all of a sudden they're at the barbershop and Dean, if you remember, has been going on dates with Dina, which have we commented on that? Like Dean and Dina?
No, I know we have not commented on it, but I've been thinking about it, Dean and Dina.
Well, I don't think we're going to see Dean for much longer because Dean's been running his mouth and Dina does not like that. But they're at the barbershop and I don't know if like the barber made this up or if Dean actually was like, this is what, Dina said to me, but he basically tells the guys that Dina likes to eat ass, which, so what if she does? So the fuck, what if she did? She doesn't just because I don't want Dina to be mad. She clarifies that's not something that she claims to be into. But and so what if she was? What are you going to slut shame her? Shut the fuck up. She can do whatever. She can lick whatever she fucking wants to.
Well, again, it's alleged, but if she is an ass eater, she was goddamn ahead of her time. Because now
amen.
Hello, in the year 2023, there's now a conversation about not only ass eating, but straight men getting their ass eaten by women and it not being weird. Because the thing is, with straight men specifically, it can become kind of weird and they get kind of weird about it. And I guess by extension, straight women, because they have sex with men. So it's like, there's no need to be weird about it. Just lick and do everything. Who cares?
Well, they go right to like, oh, I'm not going to be sharing a drink or a cigarette with Dina. I'm like, okay, so you can share it with other guys who like lick pussy and that's fine, but butthole is too far.
Or other women.
Sucking cocks out there.
Exactly. But people
don't brush their teeth. Like, hello.
Like, whose fucking business is that for the barber to be telling all the boys?
Yeah, unprofessional.
It's unprofessional.
The barber's supposed to be getting gossip, not spreading rumors around town / on national television.
This is later in the episode, but Dean fiercely denies that he said that. And Dina fiercely denies that
just to like get us there, because Mike, how Dina found out, Mike situation can't keep his fucking mouth shut. So he immediately tells Dina, and then immediately we're editing to nighttime. They're at Karma, and Dina immediately, like we go from them being at Karma to all of a sudden Dean is on the bar and yelling at Dean, calling him out, which good. Yeah, stand your fucking ground. She's like, I don't want to talk to you. You're an asshole.
Mhm.
Bye.
And
This
that's
is like small town drama that I kind of live for, to be honest.
I do too, because this is the kind of shit that happens in smaller towns, like ass eating rumors. Like in a city, like in like LA or New York, it doesn't matter. Who cares who eats ass? But
Right.
in small communities, that's a big deal, I think. And
It
almost,
it wouldn't even matter today anyway. Like, this is such a point in time conversation anyway.
it was she was so ahead. If she does eat ass, she was ahead of her time, because that's like people's thing now. People love that. And I will say, if Dean is telling the truth, because he fiercely denies he said that, and Dina fiercely denies doing it. So if Dean is being honest, the barber is an asshole. But
Right.
what sucks is that you never really know. It's like he said. How do you know who's telling the truth?
I wonder if Dean still goes to that barber, because I wouldn't fucking trust him.
Well, you know what the determining factor would be is if Dina ate his ass. Because if she ate his ass, then he definitely told. But if they never did anything like that and it came out of nowhere, it could have been a lie.
I think he said
So only
that.
Dina knows.
No, I don't. But I don't think that he claimed that she did it. I think he claimed
Right.
that she said she liked to.
And you know what they specified? The boys, the guys specified that the barber told them, Dina said, I don't suck dick, but I like to eat ass, or I like to lick butts, which is like, okay.
Yeah, I don't think she ever said that.
I don't think she said that either. So maybe the
But-
barbershop was just trying to get a little TV time. Everyone wants to be on fucking TV.
True.
Jesus.
Well, we end on actually a really nice note, because this is where we
Oh,
start
yeah.
to see the family coming together again, because Jenny decides to extend an olive branch to Sam.
Yes, which I thought was unexpected. I thought it was going to have to be
Yeah.
Sam, because they're both stubborn, but Jenny is way
Mhm.
more stubborn. And I think the way she handled it was really smart. She handled it in the right way. Ron and Sam were kind of just sitting there awkwardly and tense, as they usually are. And Jenny comes up and says, can I get you guys a drink? Do you guys want anything? And Sam was like, oh yeah, let me just come with you. And I was like,
Yeah.
perfect. They both handled that exactly as they should. And so they go off alone to the bar and they have a little conversation. And I thought they handled it perfectly. I also noted
Mhm.
neither of them said the words "I'm sorry," because I feel like
They're
it was
not
one-
those kind of girls.
They're not those kind of
no,
girls.
there's a lot of pride here.
Well, and you know what I think? That's why I think they handled it as best they could, because I almost feel like sometimes you have to accept that neither party is sorry, but you still kind of want to make up anyways. And
Well,
so
what Sammy says is not "I'm sorry," but she says, "I understand why you did what you
Yeah.
had to do." And I
Right.
think that's what Jenny's kind of like, I get it too. So like, yeah, I
Right.
don't think either of them are sorry, but they're willing to understand each other.
yeah, it's not I'm sorry that I did something wrong. It's more I understand where you were coming from and we're on the same
Mhm.
page now. So I thought they handled it well, and it ended with a hug. They hugged it out.
I know, they hug it out and everything is right in the Jersey Shore, and I'm so happy, and it's all going to be ruined when I watch the next episode, but right
I
now I'm
know.
so happy.
Well, and let me just say, at this point, Ron and Sam were technically on okay terms. They had technically made up. So this is, I think, the last time this season that the entire house, all 8 people, are getting along. So it lasts about
Mhm.
5 minutes of TV.
Kumbaya.
So enjoy
Um,
it while it lasts.
Yeah. Do you want to do the quote? This is back when they're at the store buying the stripper pole.
You do a better Nicole, so I'll do the Clark and I'll let you shine on this one.
Okay, fair. How much is the stripper pole?
230.
I'll get it. It doesn't come up stripper pole on my credit card, right?
No.
My dad will be like, "What the fuck?"
my
And
God.
scene.
Scene. Why is your dad looking at your credit card statements? At this
Well,
point,
she's
you're
so young. Still.
okay. She's young, but at this point, she's at probably close to her mid-20s, 23, 24. She's also famous and probably raking in money. I bet
Okay,
this is
fair.
about the time when she started making a lot of money, not just on the show, but like I know they did like a lot of club appearances and stuff, and that shit pays. In fact, reality stars typically make most of their money from appearances, which they were doing a ton of at this time. She must have been pretty relatively loaded, at least by their standards. So it's like you need to be handling your own money, or maybe that's why. Maybe that's why.
I don't know. Yeah,
she needed
maybe.
help.
So she can't blow it all on whatever drugs Mike's blowing it on. I digress. But you make a commentary about why Why wasn't her financial situation her financial situation?
You know what? Once I said it, I realized he's maybe helping, because if I was 22 and got rich, I would probably be like, Mom, help me with my finances, please. So
And
maybe
you
that's
know
what
what?
it was.
She's doing great now. So I think everything was done the way it should financially because she is just fine.
Well, let's end it there. I guess this episode ended on a good note, which is nice. So this is
Yes.
it.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hello.
See you next week.
Goodbye. If you want more of the podcast, you can follow us on any social media at Hello Pod.
We also have a Patreon, patreon.com/hello. We've got a video feed there so you can see our beautiful faces while we recap Jersey Shore. And we've also got a little bit of behind the scenes bonus content for you.
And you can find me anywhere online at The Lead Regina, including my website, theleadregina.com.
And you can find me online on TikTok and Instagram at angel.iconic.music.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.